How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Deadrock, chapter 15, Ghost. And the cover page for this chapter is kind of Godzilla inspired, which is kind of cool, and maybe almost a little bit of like Power Rangers too, just because it's almost like costume hero, and then you got like a monster, so kind of Power Rangers. I guess wasn't it like Super Sentai for Japan? I don't know exactly what it's called. I'm not super into that stuff, but I can definitely tell the inspiration. I'm going to skip over the recap because the first few pages of this chapter have it just recapping the Dead or Alive field day, like the whole rules behind it, and it's like shots we've already kind of seen before. So the actual chapter picks up with Class F defeating 2 other students, giving them 2 more points. And I do love that Frey is so dang excited about this field day, like she just loves fighting. Which is at the same time when Yakuto gets notified that they got 2 more points and that they're one step closer to having an audience with God. Pretty much right then and there is when someone reveals themselves to Yakuto, and that turns out to be Aries, a 3rd year student. And Yakuto really isn't playing around because Aries introduces himself and he really does not care because he just goes to punch him immediately. And honestly, super interesting his power, because as Yakuto goes to punch him, it's like he dissipates the power. And honestly, when I saw this, it reminded me so much of in the first Fairy Tail movie. You have a character that uses Requip as well, and she could like undo transformation magic. So she did it with the Shro assembling, she did it to Urza. This reminds me very much of that, towards like this dissipation magic, I guess. And apparently he just doesn't want to fight Yakuto, and Yakuto can immediately sense that this guy has way more power than what he's letting on. And he definitely does have some ulterior motives of some kind, because he wants to take Yakuto to the top and take Cougar's place. And I wonder if he's just able to control people's bodies, or is that like he controls their power, because Yakuto's arm starts moving on its own and it just ends up punching Aries. So I guess he's like self-downed himself, which either way works in Yakuto's favor because it got him another point. You get Ryzen defeating a few more enemies, and that's where it kind of immediately jumps over to Makoto's battle against one of the demon teachers. And this is where a majority of the chapter takes place. And I just gotta say, they gave this fight such a cool start with Makoto summoning in a metric ton of undead. And I love that her only line is just "meet your doom." But this page is so cool looking. I just love all the zombies, and honestly it's just cool because we're getting back into the Halloween season, and it's just cool to get this imagery once again. And honestly, both of them are not playing around, because Boltigar just summons these pillars of water that just obliterates all of Makoto's zombies. And he just kind of goes extra creepy with it by using his like tentacles that are his hair to grab her and just straight up drag her underwater. I love that you get another aspect of her power, because she literally gets these skeleton fishes to attack him, which obviously her power had been relegated to humans before, but kind of cool that there's like an animal aspect to it as well. I think that also just looks insanely cool that you have all these skeleton fish going to attack him, which honestly doesn't do much of anything because he just does a roar attack, very similar to the Dragon Slayer roars in Fairy Tail, and it just obliterates all those skeleton fishes. Which he follows it up with an attack called Plasma Squid Ink, which I thought he was just gonna like dye the water, but it seems like it's like got an electrifying effect to it, and it really damages Makoto. Like especially in this next panel, you see her having her outfit completely tore up, and she's really damaged. And you kind of get a little hint of the evil behind this teacher, because he literally mentions that he wants to sell her, which is a little bit of a red flag. But Makoto is not out of the game just yet, because she does an attack called Necro Birth, which that looks pretty wild as well, with all these zombies flying up at him. So much so that it literally sends him flying out of the water. And their fight ends up back on dry land, and I kind of love the panel of Makoto just slowly walking out of the water. I don't know, it just looks like really cool to me. This is where you kind of get the big revelation of this chapter with Makoto saying that she knows all about him and all the other teachers and the vices that they have caused. Like, for example, the vice principal was slaughtering students, Luzin is obviously making students his possessions, and Lilith, she doesn't entirely know, but she's pretty sure she could dig up something on. And in his case, he is trafficking students, which not a great look when you're at school, just saying. Which has Makoto ask him if he actually did these things, which he just straight up admits that he was trying to sell people left and right. Which I kind of like this reveal that Makoto is part of a secret service agency called Ghost, and that she will be his executioner. Also, this panel is so freaking cool looking. I love the Ghost badge and just kind of how cool she looks while holding it. And also the Ghost kind of does look like the Pac-Man ghosts. And also I just kind of love that there happens to be a secret service organization and their name is Ghost, which is a pretty cool name for your secret service organization. They just so happen to have a member join a freaking high school class. That also means that Makoto is like a secret service agent, which is kind of cool. And is her name even Makoto? Because that could be a undercover name that she's using, and this isn't even her real name or identity at all. I love that in the final page of this chapter, you get like Boltigar basically freaking out like he just admitted to crimes to a cop and like, oh gosh, I'm going to jail now. But in his case, jail means he's about to die. And at the same time is when you get Ares knowing that Ghost is there, so he has to have a connection to just like everyone around him, because like how would he know that Makoto's in Ghost, let alone say it to Yakuto, unless if he had like prior things with her, or it's like he's a member of it too. Who knows? Either way, that's the end of the chapter. So my thoughts. I actually really liked the reveal with Makoto in Ghost. I just love how much it makes Boltigar freak out and like he's about to get like destroyed now that this government agency is after him. Also, this is like a new thing for Mashima, because I know he had like the Magic Council, but like when did he had like a secret service organization in his stories? So that's kind of cool. Besides that, most of this fight really just did focus on Makoto fighting Boltigar and just kind of a few additional scenes with Class F defeating a few basically no-name students and setting up Ares, which wasn't much of a setup, to be honest, I guess. I don't know. There's not really that much information you can gather, I guess, from him. I am more excited for next chapter, though, to just see how that fight ends. Just kind of a final note, these chapters seem like they're getting shorter and shorter, because we used to have chapters that were 40 pages long, and it just seems like every subsequent chapter that we've gone on, it gets shorter and shorter. So I'm just wondering, like, are these going to be going down to like a 20-page length now, like permanently, or is like, what's going on here? Because this is a monthly series, and I know he did want to keep this shorter, especially since Mashima now just doesn't have Eden Zero to work on, so theoretically this is like his main series now. I like the setups in this chapter and I thought it was quite enjoyable. So what are your guys' thoughts? Leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Drago signing out.